Luwak te Sully Tsyeyk Itan, the 14-year-old son of Jake and Neytiri Sully, the brother of the enigma we know as Kiri, as well as Neteyam the golden child, and of course, Tuk. After living in Neteyam's shadow for, I don't know, his entire life, while at the same time feeling like he can't live up to Turukmakto VI, also known as his father, Luwak started to rebel, less to make his parents mad, but more to prove to himself and everyone else that he's capable of becoming a true warrior. But like everything else in his life, he fails miserably at that. To give you examples, when it comes to one of the rites of passage that you and I both know by now as Ikni Maya, Kiri went up to a mountain banshee and was like, hey, do you want to be my friend? And the mountain banshee was like, okay. And of course, Neteyam, the golden child, got his Ikran on the first try as well. Luwak, however, failed his first attempt at Ikni Maya, as he had his banshee catcher ripped to shreds and then got himself thrown off a cliff. But thankfully, he did eventually complete the rite of passage and obtained his own Ikran. In fact, it's the greatest feat that he accomplished so far, which is why he's wearing this necklace with the mountain banshee claw on it, and why he's rocking this armband with a feather on it that has the same accent color as his mountain banshee. Let's see, what are some other struggles of being Luwak? Oh yeah, in the High Ground comics, when everyone is evacuating to high camp, Jake reminds his kids that they need to guard their backpacks because the stuff on their back is no one else's responsibility. And then Luwak is over here on the ground needing to adjust some things. I feel like this moment is perfectly emblematic of their relationship, which is why in future emergency situations, Jake will tell Neteyam to do something like carry the first aid kit, and then he'll tell Luwak to carry the emergency beacon. But before Jake gives it to him, he'll remind Luwak not to lose it. Neteyam, who doesn't have a track record of failure and disappointment, doesn't get the same reminder. Luwak was also prone to freeze up in high pressure situations, and then he would have to rely on his brother to get him through. In short, Luwak isn't doing great. In fact, experts would say he's doing the opposite of phenomenal, which is why he wanted to fly down and help out with the raid on the RDA train at the beginning of the Way of Water, rather than do his job of being a spotter, which involved him and his brother looking for hostiles from a distance.
From a distance!
But Luwak was in a hurry to grow up and become the ideal warrior, even though he's grabbing a rifle from the train, which is breaking the third law of Ewa, that law being, nor use the metals of the ground. And don't get me wrong, Luwak has potential to be an excellent warrior. However, he needs time, because he's still too young. He hasn't even gone through Dream Hunt yet, and he's not rocking a bow that's made from the wood of Home Tree. You can tell Luwak had potential from the beginning because he's a really good hunter and is great at tracking prey. He's very capable when using his hunting knife that's made from river crystal, and he even had these arm guards made from the hides of hexapedes that he would track down. His hunting skills are how he noticed the recom's footsteps and how he was able to follow them back to the old shack that housed Norm and Jake's lynx. But then he messed up by going to the old shack that used to house Norm and Jake's lynx, a place that, I don't know, he was forbidden to go to. Yeah, Luwak has a proclivity for recklessness. So when Jake says,
"Don't cause trouble," got it?
That really just went in one ear and then out the other, and then all the way to Siberia. Throughout the Way of Water, Luwak is called a good amount of harsh derogatory names, including Forest Boy, Outcast, Not Neteyam, Half-Breed, Alien, Knucklehead, and so on. He is even said to have demon blood.
They have demon blood!
Mostly due to the fact that he has eyebrows and 5 fingers, like a human. This exclusion really worsened when Luwak moved in with the Metkayina. And surprisingly, all these harsh derogatory nicknames, they brought down Luwak, making him feel even more like he can't live up to his brother or father. Luwak knows what it's like to carry the weight of being the outcast, which is why Luwak gets very aggressive when Aonung and friends go over to Kiri and call her a freak for being different. Kiri having human-like qualities is why Luwak and Kiri have a special bond, as they are both constantly judged for being quote-unquote freaks because of their alien DNA. Luwak also has a strong relationship with Spider, who is a full human. Right now, they're both the closest height that they're ever going to be to each other, as Spider is 6 feet tall and Luwak is 7'7". Luwak considers Spider to be family and refers to him as cousin.
You okay? Yeah, great cousin.
So this moment right here was a little heartbreaking to me. When Aonung, Luwak, and other threatening youths finish traveling over to Three Brothers, Luwak refers to Aonung as cuz.
That was insane, cuz!
And we know Luwak loves using the word bro.
Come on, bro. Bro! It's okay, bro. Bro! 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 Bro, I got you.
But he also likes using the word cuz.
That was insane, cuz. Yeah.
But the only person that Lewak refers to as cuz would be his best friend Spider. So just when Lewak feels like he's earning his place and making new friends, Aonung decides to be a jerk and leave Lewak in the middle of the ocean. You know, like how a jerk would. But there was some good that came from this unethical prank, because Lewak took the blame for going into the open ocean, thus saving Aonung from getting really in trouble. And in that moment, both Aonung and Lewak understood that there are disappointments left in the shadows of their more capable siblings, which was a pretty solid thing to bond over because they never fought again. According to Avatar: The Way of Water, the visual dictionary, this thing right here, this white bead on Lewak's song chord is meant to represent the day the Sky People arrived. I know it's not a day that he lived through, but it's a day that had a huge impact on his life, obviously. When Aonung first met Lewak, Aonung immediately started making fun of Lewak's non-paddle-like tail.
It's supposed to be a tail?
And Renal used his demon blood as a reason not to take in the Sullys. Lewak was facing the same kind of judgment that Jake went through in the year 2154 when getting taken in by the Ometikaya. I think Lewak is the Jake equivalent of Avatar: The Way of Water. Jake was more strict with Lewak because Lewak is Jake when he was younger and more reckless. If we were to compare these two brothers to a different pair of brothers, Neteyam would be Sute and Lewak would be Jake, as Neteyam is way more responsible and he's like the poster child for the Ometikaya. But Lewak's incompetence started to change from the moment that he saw Tsireya, when she was exiting the water in the same fashion as a slow-mo scene from a really cheesy 80s movie, like the kind of 80s movie where somebody has to race down the ski slopes in order to save the mountain, implying that Lewak definitely had a massive crush on her from the beginning. Tsireya gave Lewak a chance to prove himself and carve his own path. Under her guidance, Lewak goes through a similar journey that Jake goes through in the first Avatar. He arrives at a new village, gets judged for being a demon and not a true Na'vi by one of the clan leaders, while the other clan leader vouches for him, and he's taught by the Tsyeyk in training who is assigned to teach him in their ways. This is where Lewak learns how to ride an ilu, the dire horse equivalent, how to hold his breath underwater and free dive, similar to Neytiri teaching Jake how to move through the forest, as well as how to hunt. Tsireya helps Lewak grow the same way that Neytiri pushed Jake to respect his surroundings and become less reckless. When she is teaching Lewak about the way of water, it was the Metkayina equivalent of Neytiri telling Jake.
She talks about a network of energy that flows through all living things.
I love this shot where Lewak is swimming up to Tsireya. Remember earlier in this video when I was talking about that one moment from Avatar: The High Ground Volume 3 where Jake tells Lewak to carry the emergency beacon, but before handing it over, Jake reminds Lewak not to lose it. Well, later in the comic, Lewak gets pushed back into the sinking Valkyrie shuttle. Long story. But after some struggle, he swims up to the surface holding the beacon in his hand. And he proudly tells his dad that he held onto an object for a prolonged period of time. I loved how the imagery in this part of the comic was matching the moment where Lewak free dived to the bottom of the ocean floor and retrieved the shell that Tsireya sent him after. Like, look at this imagery. They're perfectly matching each other. The similarities here are communicating to us that Lewak is finally proving himself. Lewak ended up befriending Payakan. Lewak may have felt like an outcast, but Payakan was like an actual outcast. Tsireya definitely went into panic mode when she correctly guessed that Lewak became best friends with the killer Tulkun known as Payakan. Without knowing that what really went down was that a Setops crew was hunting a pod of Tulkun. So Payakan rallied other Tulkun and Reef Na'vi to attack the sea dragon, resulting in everyone dying. Even though it was the humans who killed them, Payakan was still to blame, because the Tulkun are very clear about not killing anyone. Like, they just don't do it. Out of their list of rules, it goes like, don't kill anyone. And that's pretty much it. Tsireya truly trusted Lewak, to the point where before she even knew about all this like Setops versus the Tulkun stuff, she let Lewak make the bond with an outcast, making Lewak brother of Tulkun, meaning Lewak is more Metkayina than any of the other Sullys. They put a lot of emphasis on this moment where Lewak fires an RDA rifle and unalives a member of the Setops. I remember at the beginning of The Way of Water, when Lewak picks up a rifle and Neteyam tells him,
Don't even know how to use it.
And then Lewak responds,
Dad taught me.
Something about the use of this rifle made me concerned. It was the first time we see Lewak actually take a human life, and he's using a human weapon. I know we're like 2 movies into this 5-movie saga, but I'm just gonna say it. I feel like this is the start to the dark evolution of Lewak. Obviously, he's going to be against the humans, but when fighting the Sky People, I feel like he's gonna be conforming to the ways of the humans rather than the ways of the Na'vi. Lewak related more to his spirit brother rather than his actual brother, as Payakan was also an outcast, Well, Neteyam was the perfect son.
The perfect little soldier.
So Luwak chose to save his spirit brother over listening to his actual brother, resulting in them all having to go rescue Payakan at Three Brothers. Oh, I just got why it's called Three Brothers, because Three Brothers. Anyway, this led them to the altercation on Quaritch's ship. After Neteyam rescued Luwak on top of already rescuing Payakan, Luwak pressured Neteyam into helping him save Spider. Because why not? Neteyam being the oldest, the most mature, and the most sute out of the bunch, he was left with the responsibility of Luwak. By this point, Neteyam understood Luwak well enough to know that Luwak was going to do whatever dumb or reckless stunt regardless of what he tells him. So Neteyam, being given the burden of Luwak,
What happened to keep an eye on your brother?
Sorry, sir.
realized that he had no choice but to follow him into the chaos. But then Luwak's recklessness caught up with him as his rescue mission resulted in Neteyam's death, which is why after Neteyam dies, the camera pans to Luwak's hands to show us that he has figurative and literal blood on his hands. I personally blame Jake Sully for ingraining the whole Sully stick together into the minds of his children.
Sully stick together.
Sully stick together.
Sully stick together.
Luwak considered Spider to be a Sully just as much as Kiri did. So when going back for Spider, he was just doing what any good Sully would do. But Luwak made up for killing his brother by using the knowledge that Tsireya taught him from earlier in the film to show his dad the right breath-holding techniques so that they could both make it out of the sinking sea dragon. But seriously, when Jake says, "I see you" to Luwak,
I see you.
he's saying that he finally sees Luwak for who he is, rather than what he's not. Remember that emergency beacon that I keep bringing up? Well, I feel like Jake would do stuff like hand this very important emergency beacon over to Luwak, because this entire time he wanted to push Luwak to be able to take on more responsibility, so that Luwak could, I don't know, grow up and become a good warrior. When Luwak saves Jake, it's Jake realizing that Luwak accomplished the same kind of arc that Jake went through in the year 2154, as Luwak successfully adapted to a new way of life and rightfully earned his place amongst a new clan. He truly is his father's son, except this time, it's a good thing.